So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the edge finder to zero in on the vise, and that'll be it. Hopefully super quick. So let's put the drill chuck in. Make sure you take the wrench off so it doesn't fly across the room. Put the drill chuck in. Okay, so I moved the camera a little bit closer and I will show you once on both sides with it at this angle, and then I will zoom in a little bit more and show you what it actually looks like. So these edge finders look like this. They're really, really precise, and they have a spring in them. Spring. And they will move off center. So we spin them at about 1200 RPM. We use the square ends. This is for finding the center of holes, but we don't do that a whole lot. And we're going to put this up against the side of the machine just until it breaks off to the side. So we're going to watch it go like that. It'll jump off to the side. Then we're going to back it off a little bit and move the table even slower until it touches. Now, I'm showing you the side view. We're actually measuring where the edge of this thing is. And these edge finders are almost always 200 thousandths in diameter. The reason for that is we're not measuring where the edge of the vise is to the edge of the tool. We want to know to the center of the tool. So half of 200 thousandths is 100 thousandths, or 1/10 of an inch. And that's a really easy number to work with. So they make them 200 thousandths in diameter. So I'm going to move the table so that when I move the quill down, it won't hit anything. And I'm going to make sure that a little bit more than half of the edge finder is in contact. So you don't want it there. You don't want it all the way down here. You want it about there. So now I'm going to turn on the machine. And I'm going to do the x-axis first. So I'm going to move the table closer to me so that the edge of the vise jaw comes in contact with the edge finder. You'll see it'll kind of stop spinning, or it looks like it stopped spinning. I'm going to move it really, really slowly. And right there, it kicked off to the side. I'm going to back it off until it runs true again. And then move it super, super slow, 1 thou at a time. There, it kicked over to the side. I'm sorry, this is the y-axis. So I'm going to set the y0 there and back this off so it's not touching anymore. And now I'm going to do the same for the x-axis. I'm going to move it over to the side. And we're going to use this part of the vise here. Run it over to the side. There we go. So now it's going to contact that edge. I'm going to run it again, super, super slow until it touches. And then move it even slower. There, it broke off to the side. I'm going to back it off just a little. And do it again. There we go. So now I can set the X0 and back it off. And turn off the machine. Now I'm going to raise the quill up so that the tool is above the surface of the vise because I don't want to hit anything. But for this, I'm going to bring it down a little bit closer. And now we have to account for that offset. So currently, if I go to 0 in X, that's close enough to 0. I'm not going to have the center of this axle in line with the edge here. So it's not actually on 0. It's 100 thousandths off. It's 1/10 of an inch off. So I'm going to move this over. until the readout reaches 0.1. And if we look closer, the edge of this vise is right through the center of the tool, and that's where we want it. So now we can 0 that and do the same for the y-axis. A little bit more. When it's that far off, that will round to 101 thousandths, so I don't want that. I'm going to tap this a little bit more, and that's super good enough. So now I have this corner of the vise right in line with the axis of the tool. That's where I want it. That's 0. So now I'll zoom in a little bit closer so you can see it again. I'll start with the y-axis again. Going to unlock the quill and move it down. Remember I said you want about 2/3 of the tool to be touching the surface, and that's about right. So now I can turn it on. See how it popped over there? So I'm going to run it back a little bit and move really, really slow. And there it is. Now I think I went too far, so I'm going to back it off again and move even slower. There it is. So now I can set the Y0, back it off, and go over to the X side. Now when I get close, I'm going to slow down. And there it is touching the vise. So now I can run it a little bit more, and it popped. Back it off, do it again. There we go. Now I can turn off the machine, press the brake, unlock the quill, and raise it up a little bit. Again, normally you should raise it all the way up so that you don't hit the tool on the vise. I just want to show you how to set the offset. So you can't see the DRO right now, but I'm going to move it over to 0.100. So right there, and set the X 0. So now that offset is accounted for. And then move the Y over to 0.100 and set that 0. So that accounts for the offset. And now you can see the corner of the vise lines up with the center of the tool. Now you can do this on different parts. And let me show you real quick. Okay, so now I have this big chunk of steel in here that's just an extra piece. You don't have to 0 off of the vise, although it's very convenient for doing things repeatably. If you need to take the same part in and out, you can line it up to the edge of the vise, and I'll show you that in a second. But if you needed to, if you're, whatever you're doing, you needed to reference off of this side and this side, you can do that. You can do that just the same. It's the same as referencing off the corner of the vise. Now let me take this out. If I need to run 6 or 7 of these, I don't want to use the edge finder on there every single time. So I'm going to do what I showed you earlier and reference off of the corner of the vise, and then take this 1, 2, 3 block, because it's 1 inch by 2 inches by 3 inches. These are ground super, super flat, and they're exactly 1 inch by 2 inch by 3 inch. So I'm going to take this and line it up and push it real snugly against the side of the vise, slide my part over, and it's kind of hard to see. I hold it with 2 hands so I can push down, and then you tighten the vise up a little bit, and now it will be flush to the side of the vise within about a 0.5 thousandth, and that's generally good enough for what we're doing.